Hey, what's up? Ian here, and this is my review for the Raptgo bridge. It is a tunable dual dynamic driver, dual balance armature, and a single piezo driver IEM. It's got tuning switches, it's got tuning filters, and its retail price is $159. It's available in 3 colors: blue, purple, and green, and it's on Linso's website. So if you guys are interested, do check out the unaffiliated links in the description below. And just so you guys know, for the first 100 orders, you get a cap. Okay, so if the cap comes to you, you are part of that 100 orders. Okay, so don't miss out. And if you guys have already guessed, this video is sponsored by Linso, so please help me support them by buying from their website so that they can continue to support me and I can continue to make more content for you guys. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through the accessories, design, build quality, fit and comfort, my sound impression, and then I'll compare it with some of the IEMs and conclude if this IEM is worth your $159. This video is time chaptered, so if you guys want to skip to the different chapters, please feel free to do so. So let's not waste any time. Let's go straight into the accessories. Comes in a very nice box like this. In fact, a very simple box. Inside the box is actually this protective case for the IEM, which I love so much, and this user guide. So the box doesn't state the specifications on this IEM, so I'm just gonna read it to you. It's actually in the booklet. Okay, so let me just go to that page. Alright, so the sensitivity is 105 for the standard mode, and then if you flick the switch, the second switch, you will then get a better gain, higher gain at 109 dB, and the frequency range is 20 to 40,000 Hertz. The impedance, same thing. The standard mode is 17 ohms, and if you flick the switch, it will have a high gain mode at 34 ohms. Okay, and this is the graph of the difference between the standard mode and the high gain mode. Right, so that's the box and the specs. Now the accessory, this is a very nice case, and I love this case very much. Very unique, and you can store everything, and it's got a window here. You can see what's inside. So it comes with ear tips, and it comes with tuning nozzles and this pin here. So this pin is actually used to tune the IEM or change the switches here. So if you look at the top of the IEM here, there are some switches, so you can actually push the switches to change the tuning. That's one thing. And then you have your tuning nozzles. You have your equilibrium and high frequency tuning nozzles. So basically these nozzles, you can change it out and change the tuning, and they're thoughtful enough to include magnets so that you won't lose your tuning nozzles. You see, this is metal, right? So you will just stick, your nozzles will stick to this magnet and you won't lose it, and it's very thoughtful of them. Okay, so that's for the nozzles. And the ear tips. Ear tips are actually, I'm not too sure what's the difference between this one, the blue one, the light blue one, and the white one. It looks almost similar to me, and it sounds almost similar to me. So I don't know. Basically, they are really good quality ear tips. If you look at the inner core, it's quite firm. Okay, quite firm, and good quality flange as well. So yeah, I like the ear tips. I've been using them. Okay, I use the blue ones. And then the cable. Let's talk about the cable. This cable is really sticky, right? It's grippy. It's single core. It's like a silicone sleeve kind of thing, and it's got Y splitter, chin slider, and it grips to itself, and well, the good thing is that it doesn't really tangle onto itself, and pretty easy to manage, but it's just a little bit too grippy for me lah. Okay, so it's got angled 3.5 headphone jack, and the cable, the ear hooks, there's no ear hooks. Basically it just goes over your ear and that's it. So yeah, there's no ear hooks on this cable, and terminates with a 2-pin. Right, now let's talk about the IEM itself. IEM is a very unique shape, and looks very unique. It's very cyberpunk kind of design, and the purple even makes it even more cyberpunk. So yeah, very nice. It's quite thick. All right, it's not very thin IEM. Pretty small lah, okay, but it's quite okay. So faceplate is really nice, and the inner shell is all made of metal. okay, and it's got the branding here, and it's got the switches here, the dip switches here, 2 switches, so you can change the switches to change the tuning. And then the nozzle is, as I mentioned, is changeable, so you can just unscrew it, and you can see the balance armature right at the nozzle here, okay, and you can change the filter to change the tuning. Okay, it's pretty easy. It's just that, you know, it's a bit finicky for me to change the filters. Okay, let me just try to screw it back in. As you can see, I mean, it's quite easy lah. Okay, it's not that difficult to unscrew and screw the nozzle to change the, you know, tuning. It's just that you need to carry the extra nozzles around with you lah, which is, you know, pretty good. And that's the reason why they provided this case here for you to put all your nozzles and your ear tips and your pins. Okay, right, so that's for the design and build quality. Now the fit and comfort, these actually fit my ears pretty well. Doesn't give me any pain, so pretty surprised on that, because looking at the shape is quite an odd shape, but yeah, it doesn't give me any pain or any physical fatigue when I'm wearing this, so pretty comfortable. It's not an entire fit, you know, it's not an exact fit, but it's pretty okay, right? I can wear this the entire day, no physical pain or anything like that. Okay, right, so let's talk about gears and drivability. And the this IEM is actually pretty easy to drive, very easy to drive. I can push it with my iPhone, my iPad, and most of my DAPs and my dongles. But the dongle and DAPs that I would recommend is something more analytical. For example, the Shangling M0 Pro and the Questal M15. And DAPs, obviously, I would recommend the M15S. Right, which I have right here. So yeah, these are the, you know, players and the dongle DACs that I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend anything that is warm. I mean, you still could use it. It's just that this IEM is not. It shines better with the treble, you know, and a more crispier, higher end treble. Okay, so I think something that is more analytical and technical will be more suitable for this IEM. Okay, so that's my recommendations in terms of gears to use. Alright, so now let's talk about the technicalities of this. These are really good, right? For $159 US, it's a different ball game altogether. The sound that it produces, it's just a bit different from the rest of the pack. With the piezo, with the balance armature, and with the dynamic drivers, it sounds so different. So for $159 US is a unique experience, I might say, that you're gonna get with the tuning switches, with the tuning nozzles. Yeah, it's actually a jam-packed with features and technicalities on this IEM, and for $159 US is very worth it. Okay, so for the soundstage is very wide, to a point whereby it's outside my head. When I listen to this, it's a very unique experience. Again, soundstage is very wide, very spaced out, very spacious, very good height, good depth as well, and yeah, it's very airy. It's a very airy type of soundstage, where from what I hear. Okay, so very nice soundstage. Sound separation and imaging is also fantastic. I can identify where the instruments are, very clean, very clear separation of the instruments, and yeah, very easy to identify the overall layout of the instruments are. Okay, and then for the resolution and detail retrieval, details fantastic on this. I pick up a lot of nuances on this IEM, and the resolution on this is just fantastic. So above average type of resolution, and very good in detail retrieval. Okay, right, so that's for the technicalities. Now the tone and timbre. The tone and timbre for this is a little bit on the light, lean, not very warm. It's still colored, right? It still has got color to it, but I think the piezo is doing something that is making it a bit more crispy and a bit thin and light in terms of the tone and timbre. And I wouldn't say it's neutral. It's not to that point of neutral, but somewhere in the balanced and light note weight kind of thing. Right, so that's for the tone and timbre. Now for the sound signature, so the sound signature is a V-shaped, it's a very mild V-shape, but if you look at the graph, I'm just going to show you the graph, and this is actually not a bass heavy IEM. As you can see, the treble has got more prominence than the bass, but it's still a V shape, as in the mids are still recessed, but it's not recessed by a lot as compared to the bass. Okay, so sound signature for this, I would say a mild U shape. For the sub bass, okay, sub bass is actually pretty lean, right? It's a lean type of sub bass. It's not very light. It's still got some weight to it. It's not very dry type of sub bass. Good rumble. It's got a bit of color to it. At the same time, it's not overly warm type of sub bass. It's just nice actually. And then for the mid bass is actually prominent. Alright, it's more prominent than the sub bass. It's got more form, more body as well. The slam is much more prominent, and the impact is quite substantial, and it carries quite a bit of weight to the slam and the punch. So mid bass is alright. I kind of feel that mid bass. The rumble is a little bit rolled off, and not as prominent as the mid bass. Now for the mids, as I mentioned, is recessed, but they sound really clear, right? The sound being produced for the mids, I think they're being handled by the piezo and the balance armature, so they sound really clean, really clear, even though they're recessed and a bit veiled by the bass, but they have got good presence. Okay, so instruments like the pianos, they've got good presence, good warmth, not the very warm ones. I don't hear that it's very warm, but it's still got some color and weight to it. For vocals, I think for female vocals, they shine on this IM. They really do shine on this IM. I love listening to female vocals on this. I would say they do perform very well as compared to male vocals. They sound a little bit thin and light on this IM. And I would say, they sound correct. I'm not saying that they don't sound correct. They sound correct. It's just that not a very engaging male vocal. But for female vocal, they've got that sparkle, that brightness, that energy in this IM. Okay, so that's my preference. I like listening to female vocals on this IM. Now let's talk about the treble. Now the treble for this is bright, is energetic, is engaging. It's got a good gain to the upper treble. So presence is also okay. It's got good presence. It's not a very bright and in your face type of treble. It's not very harsh as well. On certain tracks it may be a bit harsh for some people, but for me it's fine. I don't feel any harshness or any shoutiness to the treble, and basically is quite a pretty bright and forward and energetic treble. The roll off is a little bit unnatural, I find. So cymbal strikes, hi-hat, and those shakers and claps, they sound a little bit rolled off, as in too early. Okay, so that's what I feel. But overall, the treble is a pretty present one. In fact, it's more present than the bass. So what I hear is more of the treble than the bass. So if you're a treble head and you enjoy treble, then this is the IM to go for, right? This has got good treble area. It's kind of bright, kind of energetic, and overall the presence of the treble is more than the bass. Right, so that's the overall sound signature for this Raptgo bridge, and I think in terms of the overall listening experience and the type of genre that is suitable for this is more maybe somewhere in classical and orchestra and pop and jazz, somewhere there. And you can go R&B, probably female vocals. I love listening on the female vocals on this. I don't know how many times I mentioned this, but yeah, I love listening to female vocals on this, and they sound really good. Okay, so yeah, for $159 it's kind of it's a different listening experience. If you ask me, I can feel the piazzos. I don't really hear the piazzos, but I can feel that they are in the works. They are actually adding to the sound of what I'm hearing. Okay, so yeah, well worth that $150 and a very good experience listening to this IM. Very unique, I would say. Right, so let's compare this with some other IMs that I have here. So what I have is the let's see, Dunu Kima Classic, and then I've got the Quartet from Kiwi Ears and Legato from 7 Hertz. Right, so in terms of comparing with the Dunu Kima Classic, now the soundstage is definitely much wider than the Classic. It sounds crispier as in terms of the treble as compared to the Classic. The Classic sounds very musical. This one has got some musical sense to it as well, but it's not as musical as the Classic. The overall casual listening experience is definitely the Classic, right? For the bridge it's got a bit more clinical listening experience as compared to the Classic. Now for the Quartet, now these two actually are quite similar in terms of the sound, but for the bridge, it's got a crispier treble as compared to the Quartet. Quartet's got a bit more bass shelf as compared to the bridge, but overall the bridge has got better technicalities as compared to the Quartet. So yeah, it's different. All right, when I listen to the bridge, it's a different experience in terms of the overall technicalities compared to the Quartet. So Quartet, even though it's got 2 balance armatures and 2 dynamic drivers, this one has got a piezo driver, so it sounds a little bit different. It's got that crispiness that the Quartet doesn't have. Now, as compared to the Legato, it's quite obvious. The Legato is a bass monster. This one is almost the opposite. Doesn't have much bass as compared to the Legato. It's not as fun as the Legato, and it's not as musical as the Legato. But in terms of soundstage, technical wise, this is definitely better than the Legato. I get more details, more sound separation, and better imaging on the bridge as compared to the Legato. So yeah, different. I mean, it's a different. They appeal to different type of genre of music. Of course, you know, for me, when I'm using the bridge, I like to listen to my classicals and my jazz, and even for pop. You know, this is actually pretty good for pop. And trance and techno, even though it doesn't have much of a bass shelf, but it's got a very clean high, and the clean highs actually bring out some energy of the trance music and the techno music, right? So that is my overall comparison with the other IMs, and also my conclusion of this Raptgo bridge. And so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and also learned something from this video. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.